you guys can ignore that intro there. It's auto set to play that. This is not for the community game jam. We just did that. This is going to just be some live streaming of development to further along my version of Dungeon Escape, the game we create in Course 3. Give me just a moment here. All right, let's see here. So I'm using Restream, so that goes to Twitch as well as YouTube. The chat seems to be working, but I can't respond via text, so I don't plan to do that anyways. I'll just be communicating with you verbally. So what I'm working on here is the Dungeon Escape game that we create in Course 2 and kind of extending it out and making it way beyond what the course is, right? So Course 3 teaches you the concepts and problem solving to be able to extend this on your own or make your own mobile games. I'm taking it further with that game and working directly with the artist, Al Heck, and we're creating a full-fledged game to advertise the course. Yeah, so we use Trello. I'm actually a big fan of Trello. It's pretty easy. I've created a tool in the past that allows you to like import these cards directly into Unity. I don't mind Trello. Trello is actually pretty good. But I've also used things like Basecamp, Asana, Jira, and so forth. So a good free alternative though is Trello. So, and I highly recommend Trello. It's actually very good. So here I have a backlog of items. So currently what I'm working on here is our main menu, or our death menu here. So I'm gonna go ahead and play the game here. If at any time the audio levels for my voice or the game are too loud, let me know. So I'm kind of, as I'm working on this, I'm kind of just gonna be thinking out loud. And what would be awesome right now is, for me, the volume of that is pretty loud, but I don't know if you guys can still hear me over it, so please let me know. Chris or Joe, can you guys hear me over the volume of the game music? Or can you even hear the game music? Alright, so I'm gonna go ahead and assume you guys can hear me over the current volume quality. Alright, good deal, man. You can hear the game music too. Alright, so here we go. So, currently, if we die, we can cut these things up in gems. I'm gonna go ahead and commit suicide here. So currently for our death, we have this awesome little animation thing we're creating. And so what I'm going to be working on right now is restart from the beginning, and then I'm going to allow them to watch an ad, and we're going to create like a checkpoint system. And then we'll have main menu and a level map eventually. So right now, if I click restart from beginning, it's going to go ahead and fade away and then fade back in. So the game restarts. And all that is working really, really well. So what we're doing now, let's see. All right, so I have the restart from beginning working exactly how I want it. Everything looks really good there. One thing I also added was to these enemies here, when I get hit, we added some camera shakes and a whole damage effect issue. So what I need to do now is I need to get the ads button working so that we have like a checkpoint system to work at. So one thing I need to do here is we actually have an ads manager that we created. And one thing with it, there's a few things we need to do. So for starters, right now this ads manager only works for the shop system to give you 100 coins and you watch an ad. And it's very specific to that. So I actually need to create this to be more of a manager class and just handle specific functions. Yeah, we've done a bit of polishing. In total, Spider wasn't turning around to face you. So I haven't modified the AI code yet, and I will be getting to that. But we have done a little bit of polish, and up until the course release, Al and I have only done about 2 days worth of polish work. I wish I could have shown you the backlog of items that we've knocked out in 2 days, but it was quite a bit. It's probably like 50 items that were just updated and polished, just to help with the App Store submission and get it more cleaned up. So right now we are doing I need to add a checkpoint system for continuation, and then add restart continue functionality. So that includes implementing, you have to watch an ad to continue, or you can go back to the main, back to the restart point. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to actually recreate our ads manager here, because I want it to be more design friendly to where it handles just ads and not be specific to that shop system, which it currently is. So let's go ahead and check this out. Wow, Unity has frozen or something. What happened? There we go. Okay. So here's our ads manager. One thing I'm working on, so when you're working on like your own projects, there's this thing called maintaining an SDK. And typically what that is where you create a bunch of tools and scripts that you can use over and over again across all your projects. So I actually started doing that yesterday, called DLG, which stands for Defiant Lobster Games SDK. And the first thing I created was called a mono singleton. So in our game, we have several manager classes, and I always have to create singletons by doing the code where you have to type out like a private static followed by a property and then using void awake. So I created this mono singleton, which automatically does that using generics, and basically allows me to turn any manager class into a mono singleton by simply just inheriting mono singleton, and then I can just use this override init method to act as my void awake. So that's one of the tools that I created to make this a lot quicker, because otherwise I had to constantly type out private static ads manager and then public static create a property for it and all that crap. So now I no longer have to do that, and it's automatically taken care of using that mono singleton. So inside here I have show rewarded ad. So this needs to be more modular to support both when you purchase items from the shop, as well as when you die and you want to respawn from the checkpoint. Currently this only works for our shop system, so I'm going to have to rewrite a lot of this. So the question here comes down to, how do I want to do that? So instead of having just show rewarded ad, I think I'll break it up into functionality of, we'll have public void award 100 coins, or we'll say watch, yeah, I'd say that. Award 100 coins. So show rewarded ad here, we have award 100 coins, and we'll do ad sequence for shop ad. So we have award 100 coins, and then we'll also do something for public void award death restart maybe. Alrighty, and then this will take them back to the checkpoint. So restart at nearest checkpoint, and then we want to make sure that they keep their gems and power-ups and whatever else they collected. Alrighty. Let's see. Yeah, the beta has been super wonky. I'm on the I'm on the beta, I guess 2.06 or something like that. And it's got some problems. Dun, 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 dun. Alrighty, let's see here. So I'm only gonna focus on getting, let's see here. Here we have show rewarded ad. This is specific to the shop, so we need to rewrite that a bit. So here we have public void award 100 coins, and let me see what that shop actually looks like. What's the wording for that? Oh, one of the things we added too was the skeleton here. his attacks, some like camera shaking, and just some overall damage effects. Ah, terrible. Continue. Alright, so actually we're going to rename this to, so public void, add manager, public void, we'll say continue game over. So we'll go ahead and award them that sequence, and I want to see the shop. Yes, so from a reuse standpoint, it's going to make sense to have an add coins function, and I am going to have to do that because I'm going to have to keep track of how many coins they have and give it back to the player. And it would make sense to have a generic add coins method because right now I think I manually update the player coins. It would actually make more sense if I created an add gems function and pass in how many I want to add, because then I can also use it to decrease gems as well. So it would make sense. Where's our shop? So if I open up our canvas here, let's go and check out our shop panel. And our shop panel is going to get a whole UI adjustment as well. Al's working on some art for it. So here we have click here for 100 Gs. So if you click that, we're going to award 100 coins. So public void, this is going to be, so ads manager, we'll say shop ad. So reward 100 gems if successful. All right, so we have our shop ad and we have our continue game over. So what I want to start doing now is we need to reword a bunch of this stuff. So the way this currently works is the button on this click here for 100 Gs currently calls show rewarded ad method. And this is what we kind of want to change. So right now it's automatically going to call this handle show result, which is for the shop system. So that's not what we want anymore. Basically, we're going to modify what this handle show result is. So one thing I'm wondering if I can do here is if we can distinguish what it is. So let's go ahead and maybe organize this into enums. Let me see here. Let's try this. So let's create an enum of add types or add scenarios. We'll call it add types. And here we have shop. And then we also have our death, game over. So based on if it's a shop ad or game over ad, we know which handle show result we should use. So here, we'll go ahead and say public, we'll say add types, and then we'll say current ad. All right, if I save that, that's going to allow us to basically select which ad we want to play, and we can pass that information into a method, and it can do its thing from there. So if we look at the ad manager game object, where is that? Here we go, ads manager. So current ad is set to shop or game over. So we'll dynamically set that through code based on which button you're clicking. So let's see here, public enum ad types. So we have shop and game over. We have current ad. So public void shop ad. So let's create the sequence for this. So reward 100 gems if successful. So when we call this button here, when we call the shop ad, we need to say current ad is going to equal add types dot shop for the shop. And then let's go ahead and create a handle result or a show result. So a result callback here. Let's see how we can do that. Show options. All right, so let's go ahead and create an options here equals a new show options. And all we have to do is we have to fill in this result callback to equal a function dedicated to this result. And what I want to do, that's what I want to create. So I want to handle show result. I want this to become very modular. Right now it only works for our shop system, and that's not what I want. So let's see how we can do this. I'm going to go ahead and remove this code here. Or just comment this out for now, because we're going to want this for our gem implementation. So here we call handle show result and we pass in a result. And I think, actually that might be okay. Handle show result doesn't have to be, let's see here. So we created a new show options. Let me see what I can add inside this. It's just a result callback. Useless. Just trying to think the best way to approach this. So here's our shop ad, current ads, ad shops. We create a new options for this. So result callback is going to equal, like I don't want to have a function dedicated for just each ad. Because what if we had 50 ad experiences, you know? Then I'd have 50 functions dedicated to handle those ads. That's what I don't want. So here, I want to pass in handle show result. Here, let's try this. So handle show result. So we'll go ahead and pass that in. And then we have to actually call that. So here, we need to say advertisements.show and check if it's ready. So here, if advertisements, that is ready. Rewarded video. All right, so we are going to reward them with a video for this. So here, if advertisement is ready, rewarded video, we have our options callback, which we can go ahead and place in there, I suppose. Let's put that in here. If the advertisement is ready, rewarded video, we're going to go ahead and give them options. We're going to call the handle show result function. But also, we want to take in more information here. So like this show results, I want to add a variable in here if I can, which I might actually be able to do. Let me see here. So here's a new show options. Although that's accessing those variables. I don't know how I can extend that class if I can. Like, I don't think I can just type, for instance, add type. No, I wouldn't be able to. Right, I can't make any variables in there. No. Huh. I wonder if the show method lets me pass in additional information. Let's see. So once our advertisement is ready, we'll say advertisement.show. We're going to show a rewarded video so that they have to watch it in order to win. And then here we can pass in show options. Just show options, placement ID, and show options. Damn. I want to pass in more information, and I would have to extend this, which maybe I should do, but then it requires another class to do that. All right, let me check something. Let's see if we can extend the advertisement show class. How to make Unity Ads show every 3 deaths. Detect when Unity Ads has been closed. Let's see. Pass additional. Rewarded video ads, Google, yada yada. Damn. Shoot, all I want to do, like basically what I'm trying to do here. So this handle show results going to take in some information. It's going to receive the result of the effects, but what I also want to be able to pass in here is the ad type. So, and technically, I guess I can already retrieve the ad type if we modify it through code. So maybe that's okay. So here, instead of switching through results, let's go ahead and switch through ad type. So here we're going to say current ad, and then we'll have case ad types dot shop, and then that code is going to go here. So here we can do it this way. And then we'll also have a case for add shops. Or game over, add types.game over. Okay, this is gonna work. So unfortunately, if I had 50 add types, I would have to import 50 cases here, but I think that's better than the current way I'm doing this. So here, we can go ahead and do advertisements.show, and we're gonna go ahead and send in that handle show results. So show options, which is going to be our options. And it's going to automatically call handle show result, which will then call here, and based on the current ad, I'll know how to handle that result. So here, current ad is set to type shop type, or so we're dynamically setting it here. And then here for continue game over, we would need to make sure that current ad is going to equal add types.game over. And then whenever we create new ad scenarios, we'll continue adding those. All right, so now we have public void show rewarded ad. This is now obsolete. We're not doing this anymore. We're gonna have our own implementations. And actually, if I were to do that, this is the exact same code. So technically we could just keep this because nothing is specific here. This just calls that result callback for us. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, so here we have shop ad. We're gonna go ahead and set our ad type, and then we're gonna go ahead and call show rewarded ad. And based on the shop type or the current ad type, it's automatically gonna handle it for us. All right, and that's fine. So then here we have continue game over. We have the ad type set to game over, and then we show the rewarded ad. All right, so now the only specific code is here. It's the switch statement here. So one of the things we're gonna wanna do here is we might have to, this is what I don't like. I think within each ad type, we're gonna have a nested switch statement. So I will have to look at how to best do this, but it's not that terrible. So when we're checking for the shop ad, we can go ahead and switch through the results. So here we have a result, and then we have a bunch of cases. So we want to know if the show result was finished. And if it was, we're gonna award 100 gems to the player. So we can just keep this logic here. And we'll add a break. All right, so award 100 gems. Now for these ads, you can't skip them. So we don't even need that skip case for this type of result. And actually, let me see something here. Handle show result. So yeah, so we have two types of ads. We have rewarded ads, and then we do have skippable ads. So this is going to be show rewarded ad. And instead of handle show result, we're gonna say handle rewarded result. Handle rewarded ad. That way we can focus on that. Handle rewarded ad goes there. It's gonna call this function with a show result. And for rewarded ads, is only finished and failed. So let's go ahead and just add that second case here. So case show result dot failed. And if it fails, they get nothing. Alrighty. So here we have award 100 gems to player. And to do that, we say game manager instance.player. We're adding 100 gems to our player. We're accessing the UI manager instance. We're opening the shop. And we're adjusting the UI for the gem count. And then here we have a debug.log, you finished the ad. Here's 100 gems. All right, so that's for the shop type. And then here we can go ahead and create one for, right, switch result. Yeah, okay, and then here we'll have one now for our game over, because we want different actions to occur. So here, let's go ahead and we're gonna create another switch statement for this case. Put a result in there. Grab this guy. All right, and then we'll have case show results dot failed. All right, so for the game over ad, we also want to we need to basically, this is where we're going to do our checkpoint system. So spawn back at checkpoint, keep gem count. Alrighty, everything else is good. So now we can actually delete this down here. Let's go and bring all this up. All right, so now we're switching through the current ad type. So if it's a shop or a game over scenario, if it's a shop, if you finished it, we're gonna give you 100 gems. If it's a game over, we're gonna go ahead and set you back. So let's go ahead and make sure all of this still works. Inside here, we have our show rewarded ad. Showing rewarded ad, it's going to show the ad, and then it's going to call that handle reward function with our options. Continue game over, show rewarded ad, show rewarded ad. All right, so now we're just gonna call this function called shop ad from our shop system. So inside our canvas here, we're gonna go to our shop panel. We're gonna go to our Unity ads button. And what do we have here? So right now we are going to call our ads manager, and we're gonna call shop ad. All right, let's save this and we can go ahead and test this out. Let's go ahead and turn off the shop. Let's run the game. Let's open the shop. Click here for 100. This screen will be your ad unit. Everything seems to be working. If we check in here, we should get a log that it finished when I close. So you finished the ad, here's 100 gems, and it updated me with 100 gems. All right, good deal. So that is working fine and then dandy. Let's go ahead and close that down. All right, so the next part here is to create the continue game over section. So current ad type is going to be game over, and we're calling the show awarded. And now we need to actually create our checkpoint system. So how do I go about creating the checkpoint system? So essentially, what we're gonna do here is throughout the map, Al is gonna be placing checkpoint locations to where he would like them to be. So right now, this map is just the course map. It's very minor. It's going to be much longer and way, just way more developed. So just for temp or example purposes, what we're going to do here is the idea is that we're going to have our player moving and progressing through the map, and he's going to be basically collecting respawn points. Yes, at Naliak, yes, this game is part of the Udemy course. I am just further extending it right now. So all the assets and audio and everything like that, it's in the course. The course is designed to teach you the intermediate to advanced knowledge that you need to make your own mobile 2D games. And you're just responsible for updating it and making it your own or adding your own projects. Yes, so extended content is going to include a lot of polish. I'm just actually developing it just for my own purposes right now, live. So that's why it's not in a tutorial format. But yes, extended content is going to include more polish and include things like, for example, I can show you some of the things extended content will include. So right now in our game, right now you only have one jump level. Well, we've created it now where if you tap jump, you do a minor jump, but if you hold it, you do a bigger jump. So we'll have challenges like that to extend it. Also, you'll notice in this game where if I actually run off the cliff, we now have our fall animation. So there's just minor polish things that we're gonna be adding to extended content. We also have these menus, new items created like this that will allow you to just basically polish up your game. But a lot of things that I'm adding to this is also just for the release of the actual mobile app. And this is a game that Al and I are actually monetizing to promote Course 3. So yeah, a lot of things you see here will be in extended content. And yeah, so everything that you see me writing here, and all those mechanics, I mean, the only reason, you know, from a normal student standpoint, the knowledge gained in Course 3, you'll be able to, on your own, polish it up without me having to walk you through it. You know, I'm just doing polish to polish, but like after you finish Course 3, you should be more than capable of adding everything you see here on your own. There's nothing new or nothing out of the ordinary. All right, so let me see here. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and create this checkpoint system. And the way I'm gonna do this here is we have our game manager, which is going to handle a lot of this for us. So if we open up the game manager, let's take a look and see how this is currently working. All right, so inside of our game manager here, and this is the old singleton way, I can actually remove all of this code as well as awake, and I can actually convert this to a mono singleton, and I can pass in the game manager to become a singleton, and this handles it for me. I can now delete this. I can also remove void awake, but I want to keep the initialization properties. So I'm going to remove void awake, and instead I'm going to use public override void init, and I'm going to go ahead and call the base init, and then the player function. So this is now a singleton. It's the exact same thing, just less code. It's all handled in the back end using this mono singleton. And I'll be creating probably a YouTube video on how to create your own mono singleton, because it's an awesome design pattern. All right, so here currently our game manager is responsible for determining if we're dead, if we have a key to the castle, which was for course 3. It's gonna be a little changed in the actual game, but this was just to give you an example of how you can create some sort of inventory. And then here we have a reference to our player. So this reference to our player, I'm not sure why I have this. So let me go ahead and do a Control-Shift-F on this and see where we're actually using that. In our ads manager, am I accessing the player? Oh, okay, I am actually. Game manager, instance player. Okay, right. I did that so that I can access the player functionality through the game manager. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, mono singleton is incredible. It's such a cool tool. It really saves you a lot of time with creating manager classes, and it allows you to just simply type this and then do all your initializations in here. That's it. It cleans up your scripts quite a bit. So I definitely recommend you check it out. You can find a mono singleton design online, but I'll be creating a tutorial for the logic of what you're actually doing and how generics work and what this T is. Let's see here. So we have our player. All right, so the way this is gonna work, right, is our player is gonna be running through the map and we're gonna have checkpoints, and we're gonna basically maintain a list of checkpoints. And what's going to happen here is when the player dies, we're gonna spawn him at the most recent checkpoint reached. So there's a couple ways I can do this. I can actually maintain a list of checkpoints, which actually is pretty useless because I'm only interested in the most recent checkpoint. So what we can do here is let's create a checkpoint behavior that our player is going to be able to run into, and it's going to update the game manager to say, for instance, public, it would be like public checkpoint, current checkpoint or recent checkpoint. And that's the position that we're going to spawn the player back at. So let's go ahead and create that functionality. So this is going to be a behavior. So we're going to go ahead and create a mono behavior for this. So let's go and just create a C# script, and let's call it checkpoint. And Unity is freezing. There we go. We have our checkpoint. All right, and let's go ahead and just create like a simple way to detect these checkpoints. So I put that in the prefabs folder for some reason. Let me go ahead and just move that to scripts. All right, so for this checkpoint, let's go ahead and just create something to resemble a visual checkpoint in our game. My gosh, Unity is lagging like crazy right now. All right, so here we go. We're gonna go ahead and create a 2D object. So let's just create a sprite. Let's call this checkpoint. We're gonna turn this into a prefab so that we can actually place multiple checkpoints along the map. And then we're gonna create a checkpoint behavior script that's gonna be modular so that it's not specific to one checkpoint. Pretty easy. So here we have our checkpoint, or our checkpoint. All right, let's go ahead and find that sprite. Set the order and layer to 50. And let's go ahead and give it a default sprite. All right, so here it is. And I'm going to just go ahead and stretch this thing up like 8 on the Y, and let's make it like 2. Maybe 3 by 12. No, 24. All right, there we go. So this is going to be our checkpoints in the game, just so we have a visual reference of displaying them. Should try OB7 at some point, but I don't think the hub lets you do multiple. Yeah, so I actually stopped using Unity Mobile, not the mobile hub, the Unity hub. I actually downloaded it, and I received way more problems in the editor than I'd like. So I actually uninstalled that and just got the release mode. I think there's a lot of problems right now with the hub version. All right, so let's go ahead and check this out. So here we have checkpoints. We're going to have a bunch of checkpoints throughout our map. So I want to create an empty game object that's going to store all of our checkpoints. So here we go. And it looks like Al updated something. Oh, nice. So he just updated some new level music 2 hours ago, and this is custom for us. We'll go ahead and check that out together in a moment. Let's see here. So here we have checkpoints. And then I'm going to go ahead and place checkpoint inside of there. And actually, before I do that, I want to zero out this game object. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and place the checkpoint in there. So here we're running through the map. We'll go ahead and say our first checkpoint is going to be by these barrels. So we're going to go ahead and just make sure that our player is guaranteed to hit this checkpoint. Just like that. All right, and then I'm going to go ahead and position the center down here. Okay, so here we have our checkpoint. And when we spawn our character, it's going to be based on the position of this guy. So that's why I want to have this center point right there. So let's go ahead and put it right about there. Should be good. All right, so here is our checkpoint. And let's go ahead and add a box collider 2D so that we can detect collisions. We're going to make sure it's a trigger so that we can run through it. And technically, you're not going to be able to see these in the game. So in a release mode, we would just turn them off, but I do want to see them right now. So here we have a checkpoint. And let's go ahead and start creating our behavior. So we'll add our checkpoint mono behavior to that. How did that go? There we go. Oh, no. So Al does not do music. Actually, guys, all the music that you receive with this course is through our friends Michaela and I forget her husband's name. We have a mutual friend who does all of the game audio for us, and they're amazing. They do all the game audio. If I look here, I can't remember. Let me see. If I go to the asset store, I can show you. Yeah, they do all the audio for all of the courses, and they provide us with some awesome stuff. Yeah, Al is just a beast at art. If he was audio as well, that would be incredible. But no, he works very closely with Michaela to get the audio that we want for our games. So let me go ahead and show you that. If we type in, man, what was course 2? The Great Fleece. Let's see here. Yeah, they are Ken and Michaela Negus, these guys. They do all of our music. So all of our background music and sound effects come from those guys. And they are really, really good. All right, so let's go ahead and check out this checkpoint here. And actually, I'm going to go ahead and save my scene. And let's go ahead and grab Al's latest track. So I do want to see what he's changed, because I'm worried that if he made a scene change, it's going to mess up what I was doing. Oh, yeah, I know, right? I already feel like a slacker compared to Al. I can't do graphics for the life of me, and Al can do it all. 2D, 3D, animations, rigging, he's a beast. All right, he changed... Okay, he did change the scene, which isn't good, because it's gonna... I don't think the scene is going to conflict, or maybe it will. Let's see. As long as we didn't change the same object, we should be okay. So I'm going to go ahead and update. And let's check out this new audio. All right, go ahead and let that load. All right, good deal. So I do have a conflicting thing here, and it's because of the scenes. So I'm actually going to use my scene. I don't want theirs because it's, so that's the one thing that does suck. I guess there's no scene merging. I'm going to keep my scene and just swap out the audio. All right, so if we look inside the audio manager, let's take a look. Here we have this audio manager and we have background music. Right now it's using this, which is the current one, I believe. So, and I actually don't actually see what he updated. Level BG, no. Huh, maybe it was that. Let me go look. What asset did he add? Oh, here we go. He added gameplay v2. So let's find that. Here we go. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at this. So there's no reason to use collab over, say, the GitHub plugin. Save that whole being public thing. I mean, the reason why we use collab is because it's convenient. I don't have to worry about metadata and ignoring files. If you use GitHub, or Git, you have to set up your own ignore library files and stuff like that. I thought there was scene merging. I guess not, or maybe it's in like a beta. But it looks like if we're both modifying something in the scene, it does screw it up, which really sucks. All right, let's go ahead and listen to this. Oh, totally different. Interesting. I don't know how I like that. Let's go ahead and place this in. So this is BG background level music v2. We'll go ahead and swap that in and see how it actually sounds. Put that in there. Delete this guy. And here's our BG music. Let's go ahead and swap it out. Or maybe this is for like a different level or something. I don't know. I'm not sure what Al wants to do with it, but let's take a look. You know, I don't know. I don't think it's as good. Versus, although here, let's listen to the whole song. It gets better. Here's our checkpoint. Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to tell Al. I don't know how I feel about this. I think the Wicked Child remix is much better. Yeah, I don't know how. Let's see. Wicked Child remix. I think I like this one much better. This is what you guys have. Everyone should already have this music in their game. Yeah, I think this one is definitely better. It's just like more action-like. I'll let Al know. All right, so back to our checkpoint system here. So here we have our checkpoints. Let's go ahead and check that out. All right, so here's our checkpoint here. And let's open up our script and define the behavior of a checkpoint. So what does it need to be able to do? It needs to be able to detect our player, and we need to be able to collide with it. So in order to do that, one of us need to have a rigid body, which I believe the player does. Yes, so we can use the player's rigid. So here we're going to go ahead and say public void on trigger enter. Doesn't have to be public. Void on trigger enter 2D. We're going to rename this to other. Let's check if it's the player. So if it's the player, if other.tag is player, we collided with the player. And then what we need to do now is what? We need to say update, we need to basically update update current checkpoint to this. Makes sense, right? So here's how we can do that. Inside our game manager, we're going to have a checkpoint variable. We're going to have public checkpoint. We'll create a property for it. So here, public checkpoint, current checkpoint. And we want to be able to get the current checkpoint as well as be able to set the current checkpoint. All right, what I can do now is I can go over to my checkpoint here, update current checkpoint to this. And all I'm going to do here is I'm going to say, we're going to say game manager.instance.checkpoint equals this. And what that's going to do is I can now restart the game using this checkpoint, and I can get the game object transform.position, and it's going to give me that specific instance of the checkpoint. So it will give me the position of whatever that checkpoint is right there, which is like -11 or something. And then now all I have to do is turn it into a prefab, and I can duplicate this checkpoint, and there's nothing specific about each individual checkpoint, and I already created a full checkpoint system. So pretty easy. Once Unity finishes here, all right, let's go ahead and test this out. So I'm going to go and just space out some of these checkpoints here. So we'll go ahead and place one there, and then let's go ahead and place one. Where can I die, like really easily? I think right over here. Or here, where's our moss giant? Let's go and place it over there. So here's our moss giant here. So we'll use that checkpoint for that, and then we'll have a checkpoint for our skeleton. So let's go and just position it back. Or here for our spider, actually. So if you die from the spider, not the spider. Here's the skeleton. All right, if you die from the skeleton, you start there, and if you die from the moss giant, you start here. All right, that's what we'll do. All right, so we have 2 checkpoints in our game. And both are isTrigger. And one thing I do want to do is turn that into a prefab so that Al can place these wherever he wants later. So we'll go to prefabs, folder with the checkpoint. Okay. And let's just turn this one into a checkpoint. Duplicate that. Here we go. All right, we'll save this. And we can now test this out. So here, if you die, we're going to do a continue add. Right, so current checkpoint equals that. Inside our ads manager here, if you die, we do show rewarded add, and then we handle it. So how do we want to handle this? We need to spawn back at checkpoint. So the way we're going to do that is when we close out, when we hit that button, we then need to say player. So we're going to say game manager.instance.player. And then we want to change the transform position. So the position is going to equal the previous checkpoint. So game manager.instance.checkpoint .current checkpoint. And then we can go further onto it and say GameObject.position. Whoops, GameObject.transform.position. Now I could do this, or what I can actually do is inside the checkpoint, I'm going to go inside this checkpoint here, and I'm actually going to add a property to store the position of it. So here we can create a public variable. So public vector3, we'll say my position. And then here, we'll go ahead and create a void start, and we'll assign the position to the transform position. So here we're going to say my pose equals transform.position. So now every checkpoint's going to have an updated position. Vector3, and we'll call that actually just pose for position instead of my pose. And what I can do now is I can go back to the game manager, and instead of typing all of this, I can simply type current checkpoint dot position. Alrighty. And there is a way too, I could make it to where I just do current checkpoint, but I don't want to. Although maybe. Basically, it involves what this get means, and it would handle it for me. So I'm not going to do that though. All right, so let's go ahead and we can actually test this out. everything should work. Now we just need to actually call this function though. So when do we do the add type game over? So here we have continue game over. We need to call that button from our main menu or from our game over menu. So inside of here, let's go ahead. Let's select our canvas. Let's open up our game over screen. And we have buttons inside of here. So for our main menu button, we want our continue text. Here we go. All right, so for the continue with add, we're calling the UI manager continue with add button. So then, oh, that's how I should have done this too, guys. The ad manager really shouldn't be communicating with this at all. I should be using the UI manager. So we're gonna update that too, but let's see here. So here's our UI manager. And what we need to do here is we have open shop. We don't have a button for that, so we're gonna change that. But so here's our restart from beginning code, and here's our continue. We don't have one. All right, so we can restart from the beginning. And then here, public void, this is going to be continue with add, yeah. So continue with add. Hey, what's up, Zach? All right, so continue with that. Also, guys, it looks like we have 33 people tuning in here. Some of you guys are on Twitch. If you're watching this, this is just a stream of me developing the dungeon escape game that you create in the Ultimate Guide to 2D Mobile Game Development. If you're interested in checking out that course, just look at the description for a link to it, and you'll learn how to be able to make something like this. When we call this continue with add button, we're then going to access our ads manager. Yes, this is the dungeon escape game that you create in course 3. Ads manager dot instance, and then we want to call the continue game over function. All right, so when we call this continue with add, it's going to access our ads manager and say, go ahead and play that ad. So now inside of our code here, or inside Unity, we'll click on this continue button and UI manager, and we're looking for continue with add. Now that we have that, let's also update how we handle the shop ad. So inside our ads manager, we have shop ad. Inside our UI manager, we need something for that as well. Oh, and actually, you know what? I'm sorry, no, we don't actually for that one. Although, right? Where should that button press be handled? Technically, it's a UI element, so it should be handled here. So let's go ahead, update lives. We have update shop selection. We have open shop. Okay, interesting. So here, when we open shop, so we should do it here. So public void, we'll go ahead and say, shop ad. All right, and when you click, collect 100 gems, or let's say that. Or shop ad is fine. And then we'll go ahead and call the ads manager dot instance dot shop ad. My God. Alrighty, let's see here. So public void shop ad, that's going to call that function. And then we just need to update that now in our shop. So this is good and working. We'll test that out in a second. So let's go ahead and close our game over. And let's open up our shop here. And this click here for 100 Gs is going to call the shop ad. So inside our shop panel, we have our Unity ads button. Change that to be our UI manager. And we're going to call the UI manager, and then we're going to call the shop ad. That's the proper way to do this. My God, where is it? Ah, I'm blind. Can't see it. Oh, I have an error. That's why. What is happening here? A member continuous as already defined. What? Where? Oh, right. Okay. Good deal. All right, UI manager, and we are looking for shop ad. Dude, why don't I see this? Oh, Unity is like compiling or something. It's frozen. There we go. All right, here we go, shop ad. All right, let's go ahead and test this out. So I want to make sure that our shop is still working as well as our game over. So we'll test both of these. So inside the canvas here, we have our shop panel. Alrighty, let's go and test it out. yeah, I like it. Juice. Alright, let's go ahead and test this out. So, yeah, we're gonna actually go up to our shop. Here's our checkpoint. Alright, so that should have just updated, and actually, it just gave me an error. Oh, you know what? That is actually related to the AI, so we'll fix that later. We're gonna skip this guy. Here's our second checkpoint, so we should spawn there if we die. And we'll let the moss giant, or we'll die afterwards. Alright, so here's our shop coming up. Alright, so we got 100 gems, so that worked. And then let's go ahead and jump into some spikes. Alright, so here's the moss giant. Let's let him kill us. And if we continue with an ad, all right, this would be our ad. Let's close. And all right, okay. So I actually need to trigger an animation here. So let's go ahead and do that. The animation that we need to trigger, and actually we need the logic too for actually setting us to that position, which I believe we have, but I don't have the logic for playing the animation. It should be. So here on the result finished, we have game manager instance play transform.position. We now need to call the UI manager. We need to say, hey, go ahead and do the animations, right, to show us and hide that screen. So inside here, you see that I have game over anim set trigger a restart screen. So we have something called continue. So we're going to use that basically. So let me see here. And then we'll go ahead and we'll fade out the audio as well. So I created this audio manager with a fade function that is going to allow us to fade out the audio. Let's see here. Okay, we should be able to use this. Restart from beginning. We have a continue with add, which is going to call that. So then here we should be able to just use this stuff here. So we'll use the continue one. So inside our ads manager here, we're going to say UI manager dot instance dot, this is the game over animator. We're going to set a trigger on it, and it's going to be continue. So let's see, hold on. If I look at, I want to make sure that's the proper one. So if I click on the game over here, we have an animation that we can view for it. Where is that? That's the HUD. Let's look in the black white. Here we go. All right, it is continue trigger, so we're gonna go ahead and do that. Continue, and then we want to fade out the audio as well. So inside of our UI manager, we have some code that handles that for us. So here we're gonna grab this line of code here and modify it. All right, audio manager instance, we're gonna fade audio. We're gonna fade the background music. The target is 0. And then here, we're going to do the current length divided by 2. That should work. All right, let's go and test that out. So let's hit a checkpoint and die. Let's see. What's it doing? God damn. Unity is freezing like crazy today. Alright, got a compiler error. So here it says game over animator. So I need to actually access it from the UI manager. So UI manager dot instance dot game over. Alright. This should work. Yeah, thank you. All right, let's go and test this out. So our shop system works. Now we can test out our checkpoint system. All right, so I believe our first checkpoint is coming up. Should see it. Here we go. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and here, and I'm gonna go ahead and we'll go ahead and let ourselves die. Oh! And continue to watch ad. There we go. And it worked. So we are at our checkpoint. Now there's an issue here though. I didn't do any resets. So in order to actually handle some resets that we need, you'll see here that our player is dead. If we look at our checkpoint, you can see here we have no health. We have 1 gem, which is perfect. So our gem count, we don't have to touch any of that. However, if I hide the checkpoints, here we are dead on the floor and I can't move because we're dead. So we need to create some restart functionality for this. Also, you'll notice that our game over music, or not our game over music, but our game music stopped because I faded it out. So we actually need to fade it back in. So we'll go ahead and fade this in. Thank you, Ronald. This is the game that you can actually create in the course 3. So I'm just adding some fun polish to it right now. All right, so there's a few things we need to do here. Also, do you guys hear those bone clacking? That's the idle animation for those skeletons. It's crazy. All right, so here's what we need to do. Yeah, we did. We do keep the gem count if they die. If they watch the ad, and it automatically works that way. So let's go ahead and see here. Hey, how's it going, mobile for you? All right, so let me see. I'm trying to think what we should tackle first. So one of the things is obviously that we have a lot of death things we need to reset. For starters, we need to reset our player character stats here visually, as well as in the code in the back end. But one thing I want to focus on first is fixing our animation here. So right now we're in the death animation. We should be in the idle with our health back. So let's focus on reviving us. So here on the ads manager, we say, we do all this stuff that handles what happens when you win, right? So if you watch the ad to continue, we set your position to the previous checkpoint. And then if you... Then if you hit configure, or we do that right after the ad, then that's when we say go ahead and fade away and then reopen. One of the things we actually don't have here, oh, we do have that. We do have the fade away, and then we fade out the audio. So next we need to call onto a function that's going to reset us. So let's go ahead and do that. To do that, we're going to go to our game manager here, and we're going to have a function handle this for us. So public void, let's call this public void. We'll say reset player. So this function is going to be handled for resetting us when we continue with an ad. Al didn't make the music. He likes to take the credit for it. Al did. Yeah, guys, Al doesn't make the music. We have mutual friends who are assisting us with all the music and sound effects you guys hear. They actually do literally every piece of music for me and everything I do for the Game Dev John community. Including this intro music. So that soundtrack there, this is also theirs, and they created that, and it's just awesome. So they're excellent artists. They create sound effects, music tracks, everything like that. So they really help bring these official Unity courses to life. Let's see here. Here we have a public void reset player. All right, so when we reset the player here, what do we need to do? For starters, we need to say our player dot health is going to be equal to 4, right? So our health is going to be equal to 4. We need to then re-add those health bars. So how do we do that? So if we look at what those health bars actually are, if we look on our HUD here, we have life bar graphic and then we have life units. So essentially what we want to do here is we want to basically turn on all of these life units. John, are we allowed to take this to full production with the provided assets, or are we going to switch out the assets with our own? Yeah, so every course I create with Unity is yours to keep. You guys can do whatever you want with these assets. You can reuse them. You can create this final production. You can monetize them. Obviously, you can't resell them, but you can create your own games and monetize with them. Every asset is original for you guys to keep and do what you want. So once the Unity partnership is over, we'll see if that's still the case. I don't know if we're going to have high quality graphics budget anymore, but while we do, we're definitely taking advantage of it. All right, so let's go ahead here and see, what was I going to do? Here's our life units. So right now we basically want to enable these. So I'm pretty sure they get disabled through our UI manager. So if we look at our UI manager when we get damaged, we have update lives. And basically we're going through each live and we're saying health bars. Dot enabled is false. We just need to do the reverse of this and set them to true basically. So to do that, let's access all of the health bars and turn them on. So here inside of our game manager, we can say UI manager.instance.health bars. Ooh, you know what? Is that a list? I'll show you guys some link if it is. Is it a list? It is not. Damn it, it's an array. Maybe we can do it still. Let's see. I'm going to convert it to a list. Health bars dot to list. I can't do that. Dang it. Here, check this out. Let's create here a temp list. So we're going to use var health bars equals a new. I can't remember the syntax for that. Let me see here. Cast array to list. Show you guys really a cool trick for how you can use a for loop in one line. Converting array to list. What do we want to do here? Oh, arrays as list. Okay. I think that will work. That might just be Java though. We'll see. So health bars equals array. Array? I don't have that. C#. There's a way to do it. I just forget. Conversion of system.array to list. How do I convert an array to a list object? All right, so we have a list equals myArray.toList. I tried that. There was no toList. .cast, maybe? Let's try that. So we have array, so we're going to say UI manager.instance.healthbars.cast or .to. I don't have that. Why not? Using system.collections. Do I need system? I will need system. Hold on. Health bars equals UI manager instance health bars dot to list. Cast. No. You know what? I wonder if I could do this. I don't think I can, but we'll try it. Hold on. There's a way. C# convert list to array. Oh, I don't want to do that. I want the reverse of that. Oh, of type. Of type I don't believe would work. That's more for like component casting. Should I use a list or an array? Using link to convert an array into a generic list. You need help with converting an array to a list in C#. I just don't remember the syntax for how to do this. Here's the new list, add range, yada yada. Come on. Here we go. We have a list of game objects. Ugh, that's populating a list. I don't want to do that. Thought there was a way to cast array to list C#. Oh, of type. Oh, maybe you're right. Of type. Okay, is that what you were talking about? So I don't want to use link to populate a list, but I do want to use link to sort through the list. I just want to cast it. So here we're going to do a list of ints, or not a list of ints. Sorry, we're gonna have. All right, so we have our list equals ints of type. Let's try that. So here we have health bars equals, and these are, what the hell are these things? These are image types. Oh, this is just going to be ridiculous to do. Let me see here. I do want to do it because I want to demonstrate some link for you guys. I don't think Unity is going to allow me to even do that. Huh. You know, I really thought there was a toList function. Or maybe it's actually that type, that specific type, but I don't know. UI mention.instance dot health bars, right? This is an array of health bars or UI elements. I don't think I can just cast this as list. Definitely not. You know, I'm not gonna do that because then I need to get the type of it too. So we're gonna forget that. And I think I can just use, can I use link on an array? I don't know if I can. I think it only works on lists. It's not an array list. Let's see. System not linked, then call car list. Oh, okay, you can use link with an array. All right, so let's go ahead and do that. So we have system, and then we're gonna need using system.link. All right, so here we have our health bars. And then we can say health bars dot, what do we want to do? We could select them and modify them. Although that's selecting one, I don't want to do that. So we actually want to do health bars dot first or default no. I want to do a function on each of them. Any is going to return a bool. What do we have here? We have bool, we can aggregate, function overloads. Any returns a bool as enumerable, as queryable, average, cast, clone. Damn. If it was a list, we get a for each method, which allows us to do a loop through them. But let me see here. Could group them all by their. I could group them all by being off and then iterate through and turn them on, but I don't want to do that. Maybe there's no actual use case for lists. Array cast type dot toList. So I tried that. Oh, maybe not though. Actually, hold on. Array dot cast or convert all. What does that do? Convert all input output. No. Dot list. Yeah, that sucks. That would have been really cool to show you guys. Here, for the sake of it, let's go ahead and just do this. We're gonna, we have our health bars here. Here, we're gonna say var list of health bars, just for the example purpose. So here, var list of health bars is going to equal list of health, and we'll populate it using link, I believe. So here we can go ahead and say UI manager or list of health bars equals health bars. Oh, here, we can do it this way. So here we have, let's go ahead and say disabled images or disabled health equals health bars. Where, and we can go ahead and say where X is what? Where basically X is, we have health bars, X dot enabled is equal to false. That's going to automatically populate this disabled health. And then what we can do is I should be able to say disabled health dot for each, because it's still not a list. That's annoying. It's not enumerable. But now what I would be able to do is basically say for each disabled health, in disabled health, we can go ahead and say health.enabled is set to true. And this will actually turn on all of the health things. This right here is called link. So in, I believe, course 4, we are going to be introducing link because it focuses on, course 4 is all about game development as a gateway to software engineering. And when you're working for real world companies, not so much in video games, but when you're working with real world companies and you have large databases to query, link is an incredible time saver, and it allows you to create loops and iterations and logic in one line of code and returns that information. So this will enable those health bars. And if it was a list, there's another way you can do it where if it was just like a for each or something like that. And to show you that too, because that's a cool one. This one I actually do use a lot in video games. If I were to create this as a list type, so maybe we can change it. If I do list, so here we have list, image, oh, mobile for you experimented and looks like you found it. You can post it in Discord if you want, although I'm past it. We're just gonna, I'm gonna convert it to a list right now. And then let's see if it will let me do it. So here it's a list, and what we can do now is we can actually say, I can actually now just access the UI manager .instance.health bars. And then I can do a for each, and I can actually do an inline for loop. That's exactly what this is. So here I can say basically X is going to point to X.enabled is equal to true. And this here is an inline for loop on that list. So instead of having to do a for each loop and iterate through like I just did here, I can actually just access the health bars. For each one, I'm going to iterate through them and turn each one on. So that is how you would do something like this inside of a list group. So, but you got to see an example of link here as well. So everyone wins. All right, so the way I'm actually going to do this though is we are just going to use a for loop. So here we have health bars there, and then I'm going to turn this back to an array. It doesn't need to be dynamic because you can never have more than 4. All right, so we're going to turn that back to an array. What's happening here? All right, so here we have health bars. Continue, game over. And inside of our game manager here, we have, let me see here. Oh, here, sorry guys, I missed some of your questions. Juggling Monkey said, what is the point of defining an auto property? Isn't it the same as just writing a variable as usual? In a sense, yes. However, I have the option if I want to add implementation code, I could. Like I can extend this current checkpoint to become an actual property instead of an auto property. And I can actually create game logic now within this. So within this property here, I can actually define what happens when I retrieve that value. So I have a get property, and I can actually do logic, like I can do if checks, I can reassign values, and then I can return something to you based on that logic. So that's where properties come in handy. Typically, what I like to do with the manager classes is use properties in manager classes. It's just a lot cleaner when you do. Occasionally, though, if I have to, like if it's Unity specific, I will make it a field. But otherwise, properties are awesome, and they allow me to create access modifiers very easily. So like if I want the current checkpoint to be readable but not writable, I can just add a private here, and now it's read-only. So you don't get that level of, you don't get that permission detail with fields. It's either one or the other. That's neat. Yes, it is. Okay, cool. So let's go ahead and actually get this working. So inside of our ads manager here, we are calling our game manager, which is going to update our reset player or our health bars. So here we have our health bars. And what I need to do now is I'm just going to create a for each loop, and we're going to iterate through each one and turn them back on. All right, so here we have var health, or so for each bar in our health bars, what do we want to do? We want to say bar.enabled is equal to true. All right, so this should revive our player stats. So let's just go ahead and test it out. But like I said, guys, there is a lot of cool advanced programming topics coming out in course 4 for real world apps. So definitely wait for that for July. All right, here we go. So let's go ahead. We'll go ahead and let this spider kill us. Okay, take that back. We have to go to our checkpoint. Alright, so here's our checkpoint. Let's go ahead and die. Alright, we'll go ahead and watch an ad. Here's our ad. We close it. Our audio fades out, and here we are. So I'm going to disable our thing. You'll notice that for some reason our UI did not update. However, let's just take a look at the values and see if they actually did do anything. So inside of our checkpoints, I'm going to just disable these guys. That they need to be transparent. Where the hell are those? Checkpoints, here we go. So let's go ahead and just disable that for now. I'm going to go ahead and alpha those out so we can actually see. So here we got an argument out of range exception. And it looks like it came from that list of something. I don't know what it do. Didn't like something. Argument out of range exception. So here, let's read the stack trace and see what happens. All right, so this here came from, oh, this actually looks like a Unity error. This actually isn't anything I did. This is actually like some graphical thing. Generic list, build, save. I don't see any of my script code in here. Yeah, this should not be us. Okay, so it didn't work visually, but let's check and see if it actually worked privately. So I'm gonna go into debug mode so I can see the property fields. If we look on the player, what the hell? Where is my health value? Oh, here we go. All right, so on the player, we have diamonds as 1, that's good. And our health, where is our health? Okay, so our health is backing field. So I'm not sure why that is set to 0. And let's see here what happened. So let's open up the player script. What happens on that health variable? So we have an idamageable here, which gives us the health property. And we did indeed change that. So inside the ads manager here. Oh, you know what, guys? I'm sorry. We never even called that thing. So check it out. So if the current ad type is game over, we never even called it. So we need to actually say game manager.instance.resetPlayer, and that will fix that. There we go. All right, so let's save this. I want to make it so we can actually see through these checkpoint areas. So what I'm going to do here, let's go ahead. Let's select our checkpoints. Here is our checkpoint. And what we can do here, it's going to have debug mode. Here is our color. So I want to go ahead and just set this alpha down. So we can kind of see it, but we can still, and we're just going to just make it like a tinted color. Maybe like a green. There we go. I think that's good. Just so we know it's there. All right, let's go ahead and run this, test it out. Let's get to our first checkpoint coming up. All right, we hit our checkpoint. And let's go ahead and go to that second checkpoint, just to make sure that one is working. So we'll do the test on that one. So here's our second one. We'll go ahead and die. Oh! All right, let's go and continue with an ad. Here's the ad once it's done. And there we go. So that worked. It brought us back to our second checkpoint. The audio did not fade in because we haven't coded that yet, but our health is back. So our health is 4, and it should be set to 4 through code as well for the game manager. So yes, so right now our player's health is set to 4 and our bars are back. So what we need to do now is tell it to go into our idle animation. So we're no longer dead. So we need to basically tell the game manager that, because right now we have a variable here for is dead. So reset player, we're gonna say is dead is set to false. And then now what we need to do is we need to adjust its animation. So here, let's go ahead and say, into our player, we have an animator class that handles all of our animations. Where is this? Here we have player anim. All right, so let's go to F12 on that. Wow, I just opened something that's annoying. Hold on. Okay. So here we have, where is it? Our sword or player anim, here we go. All right, let's open this. I don't know if we have a function in here that's gonna set us back to idle. And we do not. So when we trigger death, we need to come out of it. So if let's go ahead and see if we can actually do this automatically through the animation itself. So if I select our player sprite, we can go to the controller for it. Let's check this out. Here's our sprite. Player animation events. All right, let's go and open up this controller here. Okay, so here we have our death trigger. And when we do that, we're basically stuck on it, right? So when do we go back to idle? We go back to idle when basically we go back to idle when we need a trigger, basically, that's gonna say restart, right? So here, let's go ahead and just create a new trigger that's gonna say, let's go ahead and say revive or something, right? Or restart maybe. I'm trying to think what the logic would be for that one. Let's say you're dead, you continue with an ad, you get extra chance or restart, right? So, let's see how we're gonna call this. We're gonna be calling it from the game manager. So we're gonna say player animation dot play revive. Let's call it revive. And maybe, I'll talk to Al too. Maybe we'll create like a revive animation that we'll play. That'd be pretty neat. All right, so we're gonna call this revive trigger. John, just FYI, I posted the code for the array to list on Discord for future references. Awesome, thank you very much. All right, so here is the revive. When do we trigger revive? We trigger it if we set it. So we have no duration. We want fixed duration percentage to be 0. And when do we go from death to idle? We do it when we trigger revive. And that's all we had to do. So now in our code here, we need to actually set that. So here's our revive. We need to create a method for it. So inside our player animation script, let's go ahead and create a new method here for public void revive. And when we revive, we need to just call onto our animator and we need to say set trigger revive. And that's all we have to do. We'll save that. We'll go back to our game manager and now we need to call it. So we're going to say player.anim. And actually, I don't know if I have a reference to that. So if I go into the player here, how can I access that player animation script? I don't believe I can. So if we look at player animation here, it's a private field. So I could create a property that returns it and allows me to make changes to it. So let's see here though. Inside the player, let's do that. Yeah, here, this makes sense. So inside here at the bottom, we'll go ahead and create a method here called public void. And actually, maybe not even public. Although yes, we do want it to be public. Do we? I think it needs to be public in order to access it from another script. So we will want it to be public. Yeah, we will. So here, public void, we're gonna do revive. And all we're gonna do here is we're just gonna call our player animation. So player anim.revive. And from game manager, we just need to call that function. So here, we're just going to say player.revive. All right, let's save that, and this should work. Test it out. The last thing we need to do here, reset trigger death. I don't want to reset trigger death because, oh, are you talking about like the naming convention of it? I don't even know if you can reset trigger or what that would do. That would just play the death animation over again if that's a thing. All right, so let's go ahead. Let's get to our first checkpoint. Good deal. So that looked like it worked perfectly, and then here we are. Now, something something did damage me, and I don't know what that was. So I was going to just test that out again. So here I am at this checkpoint. I'm going to die again. Oh, interesting. So it didn't re-trigger the death or the game over screen. So it looks like we have a few bugs here we need to fix. Oh, I don't know what that would do if we unset the trigger, because I don't know if it would go to its previous state or not, which could be the falling animation. So it's just easier if we have a revive trigger. Now why my game over screen didn't pop up again, that I do not know. So let's take a look at this. Here's our canvas, our game over screen. The background is set. Yeah, that totally should have, oh, it's, I mean, it still says it's on. Okay, I think we may need to turn this off when I die. Let's see. So right now the game object's off. We'll watch it in the inspector, see what happens here. One other thing I noticed is we don't have a beginning checkpoint. So what happens if I die right now and I haven't reached a checkpoint? It's actually going to give me an error if I do the watch add one. So we actually need to tell it, hey, if there's no current checkpoint, send them back to the beginning. So we'll create that too. But let's go ahead and check this out. So here's game over. If I do restart from beginning, that works because it actually loads the scene. So if I do continue with add here, it's gonna break, as you can see here, object reference. I can't do that. I have to restart from here. All right, let's go reach a checkpoint. I'm gonna mute that audio for now. All right, so let's go ahead and make it to our first checkpoint here. It goes to wherever your transition tells it to go. There's no automatic functionality, but the revive trigger works too. Oh, okay, I gotcha. All right, so here is our trigger here. I'm gonna die. If we look at our game over screen, I think I need to turn it off so that it has the ability to reset itself. So inside of our canvas here, we have game over. It's on right now. If I continue with an add, close it out, it plays the animations that it should. Oh, actually it didn't. What happened here? Object reference has set to an instance of an object. Yeah, what happened? Did I not trigger that or something? Hold on, what's happening? Everything's breaking. Let's go ahead and make our way over here. Ignore that one. All right, here we go. So let's get up to that first one. All right, that was the first one. I should be able to die here. Continue to watch ad. Okay, there we go. All right, so we're back here, and if I look here, the game over object didn't turn off. I think it needs to, because I think it needs to be able to reset itself. And also look at the animation here. It's set to the game over wipe off continue. So I think that needs to go back to black paint wipe to be able to prepare it to go to the next one. So we need to reset this guy basically. So one of the things I do need to do here, and here we can actually try this. What does Joe? What does reset trigger do? It will reset trigger set it back to its initial one. I am not familiar with reset trigger. Right. Oh, okay. Just ignore me trying to sort out an issue of Discord. Shouldn't be trying to multi. No worries, man. All right. Let me see here. So what we need to do then is we need to create some transitions here. So when the animation completes, okay, we need to go back to once we're done. Once we go back. When do we go back to the black paint wipe or back to the default state, right? And actually, I don't know if we want to do that either. That's an animation in itself. That's going to reverse the animation, I think. Won't it? Maybe. Black paint wipe. We have a wipe off continue animation and a wipe off restart animation. And we have a game over wipe on animation, wipe off continue, wipe start shoot. We do. Okay, so that is not going to work. So what we need to do here, let me see how it currently functions. So right now the default state is the black paint wipe. And when the game starts, it's black and it basically fades away. So it happened really quickly there, but it did fade away. So right now it's stuck on there. Now it's waiting for the next move. So we need to actually have it go to like, shoot, that is going to be tough. I actually do not know how we can restart that. Let's see, because this is an animation of itself. If we go back to that, we don't want to go back to this animation. But game wipe off continue, we could, if we continue, we can always go back to restart or do whatever. Let's see. Although, hold on, what's actually triggering this? Okay, yeah. Oh, okay, you know what? We should be able to just call that trigger again. So here, when we die, where does that get handled? That's inside of our player or damage. We update lives. So let's go ahead and follow this back. We have a game over panel that gets set active. That's set active, automatically plays that. So actually, I wonder if I can just do that. I wonder if just turning that on is what's triggering. So let's go ahead and just try turning it off. So here on the ads manager, once game manager instance.reset player, we'll just go ahead and we'll actually turn that object off. So here we have the game over panel. So we'll say UI manager dot instance, and here we can actually, yeah, we can do it here. No, we'll do it from the yeah, we can do it here. Sorry guys, my dog is going nuts. UI manager dot instance dot reset. Shoot, what is it? UI manager instance dot game over panel. Game over panel dot set active and set to false. All right, let's see if that allows us to die again. Jackson. All right, here we are. We'll go ahead, attack the spider here. Let's get to our checkpoint. Alrighty, let's go ahead and continue with an ad. Close. All right, and let's go ahead and die again. All right, good deal. So that fixes that issue. Now, why are we getting damage constantly when we come back to life? I do not know, but we can revive ourselves multiple times. And actually, it doesn't look so bad. I just need to disable it. Like, it actually looks pretty cool. It's almost like a resurrection animation. But let's go ahead and see here. Give me 1 second, guys. Let me go see what my dog is fussing about here. Alrighty, so sorry guys. Alright, so let's go ahead and see here what I can do. So right now, let me go ahead and test that out again. How does it look? Let's go ahead and here's our audio. So we want to bring the audio back too. So we die. And then we go ahead, let's continue with our ad. We come back. Now it's playing that, for some reason it's damaging us. I'm not 100% sure why that's happening. I think it's something with the spikes is damaging us, so I gotta probably control the logic there. So let's go ahead and get the audio coming back. So when we call that reset method on the player, which is here from the game manager here, reset player, let's go ahead, we do player.revive, and then let's go ahead and actually bring back the music. So the way we're going to do that is simply call, we just need to fade it back in basically. So here, inside of our audio manager, we have a fade method. So let's open that. Let's go into our audio manager. All right, and inside here we do this audio manager, background, game background music, fade thingy. Let's go in there. All right, here we go, fade audio. So we can pass in basically a target volume and how long it should take. So we're going to use that method to pass in the game background music. We're going to set the target volume to 1, and let's say maybe a half-second fade. So to do that, inside our game manager here, we're going to go ahead and we're going to say audio manager.instance.fade audio. The source is going to be the background audio. So we're going to say audio manager.instance.background music. What's the target volume? We're going to go ahead and say 1.0f. And how long do we want it to take? 0.5f. So we'll save that. Head back into Unity. Yes, yes, my dog's name is Jackson. All right, let's go ahead and save this, test it out. We should have everything working and our audio comes back. So here we go. All right, we reached our checkpoint. Let's go ahead and die. All right, so here we go. We're gonna continue with our ad here. All right, so one thing that happened here, it did not do its fade. Maybe it happened so quickly. Let's see here. Huh. Something isn't right. That definitely broke some functionality here. Let me see. Hold on, I'm gonna undo that. I need to see what broke. What the original implementation was. Let's see. Go. Watch an ad. Oh, whoops. I didn't reach the checkpoint. Damn it. Let's go again. Alright, reached our checkpoint. We'll watch an ad. And here we go. So something is like seriously broken here. It's not playing the proper animations. Oh, right. Guys, I'm never calling this. Oh, shoot. Although, no. What just happened there? It's like it's not turning off those objects it needs to. Something with the game over screen just got broken. Game over panel set active set to false. Yeah, that null reference is from this guy. Although, maybe not. Let's see. Let's go back to our checkpoint. There we go. Okay. continue. Wow, it's like not calling this continue animation anymore. What the hell? Why is that? Oh, that's because I'm turning off the object. Duh. Here, what we need to do is have a callback for that. We only want to turn off that object once the animation is actually finished. So to do that, let's see here, inside our ads manager, like basically the animation's not it's not able to finish playing. So here inside the ads manager, we set trigger continue, and then I instantly turned it off. We don't want to do that. We want to turn it off after it's playing. So the way we do that is we're going to just call an invoke method. So here we're going to say, where is our UI manager here? Game over. Shoot, that sucks. We need a method that's literally just for this, which kind of sucks. What's up, Blackthorn? So let's go ahead and test this out. So here we have a break. Damn. Let me tell you how badly I want to create a method in this class. All right, well, one thing we could do, I wonder if I could do this. These are called anonymous methods. It's basically an inline method. Let me do that instead. So here, let's go ahead and use using system. And you'll learn about these in course 4 that's coming out in July. But these are called anonymous methods. They allow you to create like inline methods. So here, let's see here if I can do this. Delegate. Let's see here. This is going to be, what is this? Delegate. Hold on. Just checking the syntax for anonymous methods. Delegate. Okay, yeah. All right, so basically what I want to do is I want to call this function that's going to turn that off. So here we're going to have a delegate void, or not delegate, but delegate lowercase d. Why is it not letting me do that? No, I don't want to invoke a method in this class that it doesn't belong here. Okay, there we go. So I'm just actually going to do, we're going to do delegate. Let's go ahead and call this hide game over. Oh, is it not going to let me do that, really? The name hide game over does not exist in the current context. Why? It does. Oh, actually, you know what? Oh, okay. Here's how we can do it. So delegate, and then shoot. You know what? This isn't gonna work either because I can't delay time in here, unless I were to do like a multi-threaded type deal, which we definitely don't want to do. Shoot. How can I get around that? I guess it can be responsible here. Let me see. Reset from beginning. Continue. Damn. I do not want to put a method in here. All right, let's go ahead and void handle. All right, we're gonna have void turn off game over screen, and its responsibility is literally turning off the game over screen. So UI manager instance dot game over panel dot set active is gonna set to false. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to invoke this. So we're going to invoke it, turn off game over screen. And then we're going to wait until that animation is finished. So to do that, we're going to say, where is that? That's the UI manager dot instance dot game over animator. We're going to get the current animation state. 0.length. So the length of that animation. Cool. Let's save that. Well, I don't want to start a coroutine either. The whole point is that this ads manager class, I wanted it just to be responsible for handling ads. I don't like the idea of having this function here. And I could technically put this inside of, I don't know if you can even do that. If you can invoke a method that's in another class, I would have to look it up. All right, so let's go ahead and test it out though. It should work. Let's see. Ah, damn it, that's not a checkpoint. Alright, so those who died, start from the beginning. Alright, so that works great, so let's go ahead and hit a checkpoint. Alright, we hit our checkpoint, go ahead and die. Alright, let's go ahead and continue with an ad. Watch an ad. Object reference outside 2 minutes since what? Player transform.position equals current checkpoint. Okay, that checkpoint is like not registering for some reason. What is going on with that guy? He has a collider, and they both have colliders. Something is like not registering with them. Not 100% sure why. Let's go reach that checkpoint. Alright. Okay, we die. Let's go ahead and watch an ad. Close. Alright, so now we respond back. Now everything worked fine except the music did not start. So if we look at our game manager, this did not do anything. Fade audio, background music, set it to 1, 0.5. Why? If we look at our audio manager right now, what's our audio level set to? Wow. Let me see. So here we go. So our audio level is set to 0. If we look at Sajad, thanks. If you're interested in making it, you can check out the course. Let's see. I'm looking for. How do I? What am I looking for here? So okay, here we go. When we finish, we fade the audio. All right, and that is working. And then we go to that function here. I start this routine. Volume equals current volume, which should be 0. Oh, that's why. Well, 0 is greater than target volume. 0 is not greater than 1, so it's never. So this function here only actually turns volume down. So we need to actually make it so that it turns volume up as well. So the way we can do that, let's see here. Volume equals source.volume. So what I can do here is if volume equals source.volume, we'll say equals 0. If it's set to 0, then we're going to go ahead and say, shoot. I'm still going to have to rewrite this a bit. Let me see here. Yeah, a lot of this is actually going to have to be rewritten. So here we have volume equals source.volume. If the volume is greater than the target volume, then I'm saying subtract the volume. We now want to create an add volume method. So what I can do here is simply, let's do this. So here, volume equals source.volume equals 0. If it equals 0, then what am I going to do? This is called a ternary operator, by the way. If the volume is 0, then I want to go ahead and say volume is 1. else we're going to go ahead and say source.volume. Source.volume. And we're going to use that to determine which while loop to call. So here, if volume is equal to 0, then what do we want to do? We want to subtract. Else we'll do this one. So we're going to run either any of these. So we're either going to subtract volume or add volume. So here, while volume is less than, so volume equals 0, while volume is less than target volume, we're going to say volume is plus equal. All right, let's go ahead and save that. And we should be good. Test it out, should work. All right, and then once we get this working, we are going to wrap up this stream. I'll be back in a little while to do more development. But I think what I'm going to start doing here is live streaming the development efforts that Al and I are making on this actual mobile game. So, and if you're interested in checking this out, this is the game we build in Course 3, and it gives you all the tools and knowledge you need to be able to extend it just like I am. All right, let's go ahead and die. Continue to watch ad. Cool. All right, so what happened here was our coroutine was in the process of decreasing the volume before it actually went up. So inside of our ads manager here, we have audio manager instance.fade audio. And we're telling it to do it the length of the animation, but we've already called this reset player. So when we reset the player, we actually want to fade back in when we turn the game back on. So I'm going to remove that code from here. I'm going to go back into my ads manager and I'm going to put it inside this turn off game over screen. That's when we should actually be bringing the audio back. So we'll save that. All right. Hey, what's up, Tyler? All right, here's our checkpoint. Oh! All right, we'll continue with an ad. And the music did not come back. Ah, it's annoying. Something is getting in the way with that coroutine. Audio management, stop fade audio. Background music, our target is 1 and set to 0. Let's see. Audio source, game background music. Audio source, target volume, pass in that info. Let's see here. Well, volume is greater than target volume. Let's see, well, volume is less than target volume, so which we set to 1. Yeah, this should be working. I believe this coroutine is just getting called multiple times and something's canceling it out. Ah, that sucks. Let me see. Let's see. Well, it won't play over the ad when you launch a Unity ad. It takes over your entire game. One solution here is to actually stop the music when the game over screen appears, and that might be a solution there. But we actually want the music to continue playing during the game over. Let's see here. Not even sure that's getting called. Let's just make sure. All right, let's go ahead and try that. Let's hop over here. goes off fine. So that code actually never got called. That debug.log never got called. So the question is why? So my guess is what's happening here is it's canceling out something. The source.volume never equals 0, although eventually it does, but when it gets called. So what I want to do here, it needs to be, it's this method. It's not actually 0. That's why it's never getting into this here. So I actually need to adjust that. Let's see. Let's see here. So in order to actually do this, what might make more sense here is to have a separate function to do it, because it's this 0 part. When this is getting called, it's not fully 0 yet, and I believe that's what's screwing it up. So it just goes to this, and it just continues decreasing the volume. So regardless of the Google ad taking over the audio, I'm noticing you start the fade out when you close the ad. Yes, we do start the fade out when you close the ad, because we want you to be able to see it. Yes, it is the same time as restarting the player, which is why we have on the ads manager here, we have this turn off game over screen, which happens after the animation plays. Although now that you mention it, we're doing a half a second. Oh yeah, okay. And the fade audio is based on the animation state. So we're fading the audio to be finished before the animation even finished. It's half the length. So if the animation to play is 3 seconds, we're fading the audio in 1.5. So really the audio should be done. So it's just not fading up for some reason. And the question is why? I'm really not sure. So I will have to debug this. So I think I'm going to say, this will be my stopping point. I think I'm going to come back and I'll live stream debugging this. And I think I might have to break this up and I'll have to figure out what the actual source volume is that I'm passing through. Because something is not letting me call this twice and get in here. So, all right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and take a break here. I will be back in a while and I will finish debugging this live. So I'll see you guys later. Thanks for watching. If you're interested in checking out this course, go ahead and check out the description for how to make a game like this. We use these exact assets, and I'm just extending it right now. Ha! Literally. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. I'll see you later.